Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's meeting, the last meeting of Water and Sanitation Month. We'll have our invocation by Rotarian Ruben.
Rotarian President, fellow Rotarians, may we all bow our heads for the invocation. I'd like to give us the chorus. After the count of 2, 1, 2. Oh Lord, I give of all good. We thank you for our daily food. May Rotary friends and Rotary ways help us to serve thee all our days. And everybody will say amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rotarian Ruben. Now the loyal toast, Rotarian Christina. Christina.
To Rotary around the world.
No, to the Commonwealth
of the Bahamas.
of the Bahamas.
So the Queen and the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Thank you. And now we'll welcome our visiting guests and Rotarians, Secretary Donnet.
Thank you, Madam President. We have visiting this morning. We have a special Rotarian in the room, and he's our guest speaker, and I will allow, I'm not seeing Felix yet, but he's going to be introduced. Is it Felix coming?
It's PAG Karen, she's here.
Oh, PAG Karen is going to introduce
Felix
him.
is going to do the vote of thanks.
Right, so I will allow her to introduce him, but let me say welcome. Is it
PDG.
PDG Jeremey? I was making sure I get the Rotary title correct. Welcome, PDG Jeremey. I know it's early for you, and we're looking forward to having you this morning, but I'll allow that to that special introduction and welcome from PAG Karen, PAG Karen, sorry. We also have in Rotaractor David Thompson, who is a frequent visitor. We welcome you, sir. Also, we have visitors and guests of Rotarians. And so I'll start with Kemi. I'll allow Kemi to introduce his guests first.
Good morning, everyone. So of course we have my regular guest, Felicia Carey here. Felicia, have you done my job talk yet?
No, it wouldn't be time for that yet, Kemi.
Oh, well, that's fine. Then she can do a proper introduction of herself, is why I was asking.
No, you just need to introduce her. So welcome, Felicia. We hope that you take the next steps. I see Kemi's prodding, gosh, my words this morning. Prodding you along.
Just subtly, that's all.
Pleasant good morning.
So welcome. I'd like to also allow Rotarian Gwen to introduce her guest.
So my guest this morning is Michelle Marinard. She and I actually went to high school together. Say good morning again, Michelle.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, good morning. I'm wondering if I know Michelle.
Yes, you do, Donette.
Oh, I know. I saw the name and I knew that I knew the name, but then you didn't say anything when I said good morning. So I said, okay, there's so many Crystal Rolls and all these names that are common.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome. I'm so happy to see you. So you're both our guests.
Thank you.
I would also like to welcome my special guest, Dr. Grant Taylor. You would have met her last week. Welcome again, Dr. Taylor.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
And I'm scanning my screen to see if anyone joined after I was recording the names. I'm not seeing anyone else who joined us. So welcome, everyone.
I have a guest online.
Oh, you have a
Ron
guest?
Skippings, yes.
Okay, please go
She's-
ahead and introduce your guest.
Yes, Yvonne Skippings is my guest. She is an accountant.
I'm not seeing
Uh,
her on the line
Unless
though.
she dropped off. No, she's
Oh,
here.
okay. Okay, sorry.
I'm here.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, go ahead.
Good morning.
Hey.
Thank you
Oh, you
for
have your name
inviting
as
me again.
YMAS. Okay,
Yeah.
Yvonne.
Yes. Hey. Thank you, Yvonne.
Thank you for inviting me again.
Welcome.
Can I have your full name, please?
Yvonne Skippings.
Skipping. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think, so that leaves me to welcome all our members and especially Karen, Rotarian Karen Butler. We can now say Rotarian. Karen has been with us
Yes.
forever, but she's officially back into the Rotary family. And so we say welcome. I also see Nema online. Nema, we're excited to see you. Oh my God, we feel honored.
As always.
These days you're like the
Good
Prime
morning.
Minister.
Morning, Nema.
Morning. Good morning.
Good to see you.
Welcome, welcome. Great to see you. Christina, welcome. I know you're dropping now and then because of work commitments, but this morning we're especially happy to see you. So that leaves me to hand over back to you, President Francis. Enjoy the meeting all.
Thank you, Secretary Donnet. Our Sergeant at Arms is not here this morning. And so we'll move right along to, I know Lavelle is not online, eh? I don't see him. Birthdays and anniversaries. Past President Diana Lynn.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. We have a celebrating literacy chairperson in the person of Janelle. We want to wish her a very happy birthday. Celebrate like a rock star. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Now we'll have our announcements.
Okay, while we're waiting for the announcements, President, I just want to announce the raffle this morning. The
Yes, go right
raffle
ahead.
compliments of Rotarian Leah Carlo Adderley is a gift certificate for Bristol, and the gift certificate is valued $100. So $10, you invest $10 and you walk away with a $100 gift card this morning. So please enter into the chat your request, whether you want 1 or 2 tickets. There are no $5 tickets this morning. All tickets are for $10. Thank you.
Thank you. Rotarian Kami, do you have an announcement this morning?
Good morning, everyone. So as we're coming to the end of our month that's celebrating water and sanitation, I'm going to make a personal plea to everyone this Saturday between 9 and 12. We're going back into the Bain and Grandstown and Centerville areas to go around and do some restorative work to the standpipes. Yes, we know that we can only do so much, but every little bit helps to spread awareness to the need to improve water and sanitation in this country. So I will be making personal phone calls as well. We really want to have a good showing this weekend. Last weekend, the Rotaractors definitely outshone us, so we want to make up for that this weekend. Thanks, everyone. I look forward to your support.
Thank you, Rotarian Kami. Is Rotarian Patrick online?
Yes, he is.
Right. Rotarian Patrick, would you like to bring us an update on the volunteer for vaccine, please?
Good morning. The vaccine is going great. It started off slow, but so far it has picked up considerably, and all of the volunteers are participating, and people are every day somebody is approaching me asking me to volunteer. So we are increasing that every day, and it's going extremely well. We have had many feedback from people that come in that it was so organized. I heard someone said, government can take a page out of the Rotary book in the way they are so organized, and everybody's very pleased with it. And like I said, it started off slow, but it seems as if people are becoming very susceptible to it. And right now, it's difficult to get a spot in now because how much it is to subscribe to. We're starting yesterday. They started to vaccinate at the Church of God also, and they're supposed to be adding a few more places to vaccinate. But so far, it's going extremely well.
Just to interject, Patrick, and for members, no, we didn't start vaccinating at the Church of God yesterday. It was just completely registration. Vaccination begins tomorrow, Friday. So yesterday and today is just complete registration. So I'm just posting. They definitely need more volunteers at Church of God of Prophecy, East Street.
Sorry, I just want to clarify that it's Church of God of Prophecy, right? Not Church of God, because they are both on T Street.
Yeah, no, it's Church of God of Prophecy. Yes, the big one.
Right. No, I don't remember. That's why I'm asking. Making sure we're clear.
Yeah, the big one who just had their convention.
All right, thank you, Rotarians Patrick and Marcia, for that update. Are there any other announcements? As Rotarian Kami mentioned in his announcements, let us come out and support on Saturday morning. I'm sure, Kami, you would be sending all of the information later in the chat so that we will know where persons are to meet and the time. So I look forward to that. I want to especially welcome back to the club and to her family, Rotarian Karen Butler. Welcome back. I sent out an appeal last week for those persons who have ads already for the 20th anniversary booklet to kindly submit your ads so that we can move on with the production of the booklet. This morning, I am asking again for those persons to kindly let us put a rush on it. We want to make sure to realize this particular initiative, and it's only us who will be able to do that. We only celebrate 20 years one time. It's not gonna come around again, so let us make this happen. So if you have ads for the booklet, kindly submit those to us so that we know where we are in terms of realizing this initiative. Now I'll ask PAG Karen to introduce our guest speaker, PDG Jeremey Hurst, who will speak on the topic District 7020 HANWASH project. PAG Karen, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, President Francis. It's a real pleasure to introduce a very dear friend and Rotary mentor, PDG Jeremey. He's PDG Jeremey, very personal to me, a great friend. He was district governor 2013-2014, and that was my first year as assistant governor. I'm wearing my badge today. I don't know if you could see it, so I'll hold it up. You remember this, Jeremey? You could see it? So this was the presidential, yeah, some of our more experienced Rotarians will remember the theme from 2013-2014, and that was Engage Rotary, Change Lives. Yes. And as you hear about Jeremey in the bio, and more importantly, listen to this fantastic, audacious project that he's spearheading. you'll really see that he's taken this motto to heart and is living it. So Jeremey, he was born and raised in Rochester, England in 1961 and attended University College London, where he earned a BSc honors degree in land studies. He relocated to the Cayman Islands in 1988 on an 18-month contract. Yeah, it was 18 months. And 33 years later, he's still right there. He calls Cayman home, having put down very strong roots in the local community and the region. He owns and operates the IRG group of companies, which offers property and investment-related services to private investors and corporations in the Cayman Islands, and is active in promoting investment into the Caribbean region. He currently chairs the Global Advisory Board of the leading real estate companies of the world and sits on their main board. He joined the Rotary Club of Grand Cayman in 1988, and 7 years later became its youngest president. He has chaired 2 district conferences as well. He was a member of Rotary International's membership committee from 2015 to 2017, has served on Zone 34's coordinator teams as an ARC with a focus on membership, and also an assistant Rotary Foundation coordinator. He's also been Zone 33 and 34 Summits Program Chair, Leadership Training Chair, and General Chair of the Zone's first ever virtual summit in 2020, which I think anyone who attended knows that was a fantastic feat and a great conference. So thank you for that, Jeremey. His wife, Michelle, is an honorary Rotarian, and both are passionate about the work of the Rotary Foundation. Jeremey is a recipient of the Rotary Foundation Citation for Meritorious Service, and Michelle and Jeremey are major donors and Bequest Society members. Most recently, Jeremey was selected as a Rotary International Director for the years 2022 through 2024. Michelle and Jeremey married in 2013, and she still hasn't totally forgiven him for arranging their honeymoon to coincide with the Rotary International Convention in Lisbon. Together, they have 4 children. They love traveling, even if it's virtual, and making the most of the unique opportunities to serve, build lifelong friendships and fellowship that Rotary offers. Please join me in giving him a very warm sunrise welcome. PDG Jeremey, the floor is yours.
PDG Jeremey, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, everyone. It's absolutely wonderful to be back in the Bahamas again. Past Assistant Governor Karen, there's a special friend of mine, and it's so great the relationships we build in Rotary, isn't it? And thanks for wearing that pin. That takes me back to a wonderful time I had. So, President Francis, thanks for allowing me to be here today. I want to recognize as well past District Governor Felix, who's also Assistant Rotary Coordinator, a role I used to hold for the Caribbean. So great to be amongst friends. I remember the meeting we had at Nassau Sunrise as one of our great memories of as we traveled across the district. Before I start, let me share my screen. I want to make absolutely sure that you can see what I'm hoping you will see. Just give me a second. All right, so if I can have a thumbs up, please, if you can see it, because okay, great. I got 4 slides into a presentation about 3 weeks ago, and I was doing a wonderful description, and everyone was looking at me, and then someone said, "Where are the photos?" So I'm glad you can see it. In any case, as I said, tremendous to be here today. Before I start, let me congratulate you on your standpipe initiative. That sounds like a really great partnership. I understand you're cleaning up 79 public standpipes in the inner city community, estimated 20,000 person impact. Wow, isn't Rotary great? I mean, what a great opportunity, and what a great way of showing what we can bring to the community. Well done. And the vaccination program you're doing, we're in awe of you across the Caribbean. Absolutely, we show governments how things should be done. So well done to everyone with that initiative as well. So as I said, I had the honor of being the district governor in 2013, and my experiences during that year visiting every club, including yours, was amazing. But my experiences in Haiti, but anyone who's actually been there, they were special. I mean, the country tends to get under your skin. With 11.5 million people, it's definitely the largest country in the Caribbean, in many ways very beautiful, tremendous, vibrant culture, but without the doubt, the most dysfunctional, I'm afraid to say. However, during my time there, I had the opportunity, amazing opportunity, to become involved in what's widely become recognized as one of the highest impact, the most audaciously ambitious programs in Rotary world, and perhaps will be in Rotary's 116-year history. And that program is HANWASH, which I have the honor of chairing the steering committee for. So what's our vision? Well, quite simply, to deliver universal, sustainable access to clean water, sanitation, and hygiene for all the citizens of Haiti forever. Yep, that's an absolutely audacious goal. It will be a multi-decade commitment, probably 25 years at least, and at a multi-billion-dollar cost. Our current projections are around 2.3 billion. Yes, the B word, billion. We plan to achieve this by developing and implementing business-based model, a business-based model. This is just not just charity. It's not a charitable-based model. With private and public sector collaboration, we know Rotary does that very well. And the aim is to build capacity within our communities. This is not an outside in, this is a bottom-up operation in order to deliver thoughtfully managed and sustainable clean water and sanitation solutions, as I said, to everybody in Haiti. But it doesn't stop there. As a direct knock-on effect to this, HANWASH will help break the cycle of poverty that has tied Haiti down for years. We'll deliver major benefits to the environment. We'll help enhance opportunities for education for all. Will significantly benefit the economy. We'll greatly improve maternal and child health care. As you know, that's one of our focuses this month. And all these areas are interrelated with HANWASH. And that will be the rising tide that floats all these boats for us. So where did we start in relation to my involvement? Well, in 2013, I had the opportunity to visit the Rotary Club of Liagan in Haiti. And as you can see there, I was presented with a very dirty bucket of water. But what I didn't know was they wanted me to drink some of it. So I found out how. At that time, the club president and his team have been developing a water filter project using a Sawyer filter. It's an amazing filter, a simple membrane that's used in kidney dialysis machines. In between two pipes connected to two buckets, you put the dirty water in the top and clean water comes out the bottom. And yes, it works. 99.9%, 99.8% of all impurities and diseases and viruses get taken out of that water, leaving clean, pure, potable water, which, as you can see, I'm toasting myself there and toasting the club there with a glass of it. What you can't see or hear is Michelle and my wife in the background saying, no, don't drink it. I'm not going to look after you get sick. But in any case, that's exactly what happened. And I wasn't. I was absolutely fine. And we went on to take that particular product, the soy product, and develop a number of global grants across southern Haiti. $200,000 grants for 1,000 of these water filter products each time. And on each occasion, we had the opportunity to deliver what we thought was a great solution. But then we realized that these filters only last 7 to 10 years at best. And whilst they're a great product, this is really only a short-term solution in the history of Haiti. What we needed to do was to come up with something that was going to be long-term. And that was the genesis of the HANWASH program. So let's talk a little bit about maternal health and childcare. So Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. I'm sure many know that. 65% of the population live under the national poverty line. The infant mortality rate there is 59 deaths per 1,000 live births. In the USA, it's 7. In the Bahamas and the region, it's around 11. The children's nutritional status is terrible. And according to a 2012 survey, 22% are stunted or too short for their age. And this indicates chronic malnutrition. A survey in 2012, and this one really hurts me, this particular statistic, 2/3 of the children between 5 and 11 participated in child labor. It's a difficult situation there for children. Well, let's go to water and sanitation. For us, it's as simple as going to a water cooler, to a refrigerator, getting a bottle of water, pouring water straight out in a hand from a number of places in our house, probably. Glass of clean, fresh water. Unfortunately, to the girl in the picture here, and most mothers and children in Haiti, they don't have it quite so easy. For this particular young lady, the kiosk at the end of Hurst Street was damaged in the earthquake in 2010 and hasn't worked since. Instead, she hikes 20 minutes to a spring and 20 minutes back again over rough terrain, barefoot, struggling with a heavy 5-gallon yellow container to bring water to her family, often twice a day. Her parents would love to send her to school, but she's 13-year-old, but her mother is working in the fields and her father's sick, and they need to stay at home to teach her to fetch water, to cook, and look after a little brother and sister. Last week, a group of young men accosted her, and they stole the water she was carrying. When I say last week, it was a week before this photograph was taken. She was the lucky one, because the year before, her friend had been beaten and raped in similar circumstances. It sounds absolutely crazy, but she really is one of the lucky ones, because 70% of the people in Haiti, unlike Madeline, that's her name, and her family, do not have access to potable water within a 30-minute walk, let alone a 20-minute walk from their home. In the rural villages where most Haitians reside, only 1 in 4 have access to a toilet. In fact, 2 of the 11 million population are forced regularly to practice open air defecation. As a result, waterborne illnesses such as typhoid, cholera, and dehydration through chronic diarrhea account for 50% of the deaths in the country every year. This is the unfortunate reality of most of the citizens of Haiti, of many of the citizens of our own District 7020. And I know the ties between Bahamas and Haiti, and I know how close this is and how close to home this is for all of them. So what's the solution? We are. Well, let's look a little bit more at the challenges that Haiti's water system has, or water infrastructure has. Half of Haiti's, water and sanitation infrastructure is simply not working. A survey of approximately 3,500 water fountains and kiosks in 2000 more showed only half, as I said, actually worked. 40% of the wells remain non-functioning or contaminated today. Almost, you remember this shot here. This is the presidential palace that happened. This is what happened to it at the time of the earthquake. This is a well-built building. The rest of Haiti looked actually pretty bad, worse than that. The direct result of that was most of the country's pipe water system in urban areas was severely damaged. And that hasn't been repaired since. It's not improved, in fact, the situation over the last 20 years. The country is, and has been for some time, a recipient of out-of-control aid funding, most of which sadly only focuses on temporary relief and quick fixes to problems, rather than building systems necessary for the country to function properly and progressively to develop. And the end result of this charity mentality has unfortunately been to drag the country down, quite the opposite of what's intended. And this has now become embedded in Haiti's culture and represents one of HANWASH's biggest challenges. So we need to move past the idea of relief and embrace the concept of long-term development. And that's exactly what HANWASH's goal to do. By way of example, before the 2010 earthquake, there were 4,000 NGOs in Haiti. That sounds like a lot. After the earthquake, there were 22,000, each trying to carve a little piece out of the country's charitable pie. Most of them well-meaning, but unfortunately very few of them considering what's best for the long-term development of the country as a whole. And this photograph is a perfect example of that. This was taken during our January 2020 trip to Haiti. We were with PDG Robert Leger and the Rotary Club of Les Cayes. We were receiving an award from a school, he was in fact, for doing a school bench project. And as we looked across the yard, we saw the well there, but we noticed they'd been bringing containers of water in. So we said, why are you not using the well? The principal said, oh, well, unfortunately it broke 3 years ago. I said, well, so we said, well, how long did you have it? Well, it was put in 5 years ago. A church was very kind. They put it into us, but they didn't have the components to maintain it. And we don't know what happened to the church. And unfortunately, it's broken. So we bring our water in containers. So we know a well costs roughly $20,000. We said, oh, that's unfortunate. But then we looked into the distance. You see that blue, two-tone blue building back there? That's actually part of the community's water system. It's a water kiosk where the pipes run through. So we said, well, what happened to the water kiosk? We've got a water kiosk there. Why did you need a well? They said, oh, I said, no, that broke a few years before that, probably after the earthquake. It never really properly functioned. We know to fix that water kiosk would have cost $20,000, but instead of spending the money to fix that water kiosk, they built another well. They drilled another well. A wellman and NGO drilled another well. But of course, what happened? It failed. Unfortunately, the same story is repeated each and every week, right the way across the country of Haiti. And we need to get over this. But how can we do this? Clearly, we can't take this on alone. But we have a great model here of us being able to do things, audacious goals on major scales. Just look at the polio, how we've done it there. This is the model we're using for HANWASH. We're partnering with groups from across the world. First, there's the water and sanitation implementers in Haiti, the NGOs who specialize in providing water and sanitation solutions. They dig wells, build microflush toilets, they provide filtration systems, such as the water filters, the soya filters I showed you earlier. Second, there's the major donor agencies from around the world, the USAID, UNICEF, World Vision, and the World Bank. You'll know these names, as well as governments and potentially multinational corporations. Third, of course, there's the Haitian National Water Regulator. Now, we knew we had to partner with government. That's absolutely essential if we're going to make this a long-term program. Of course, at that particular time in 2018, when we initiated HANWASH, we had one major benefit. A certain immediate past president of the Rotary Club of Pétionville, Jacques Lefontaine, just happened also to be the Prime Minister. So when we brought these teams together, it was an amazing alignment of the stars to have that influence within Haiti at that point in time. So they brought the regulator to the table, but the regulator stayed there because they trust Rotary. They understand how we can do this while others couldn't. And finally, there's us, Rotary International, working through our district. And I'm so proud of that, District 7020, in cooperation with other Rotary partners. The Rotary Foundation, the Rotary International are very excited about the opportunity this presents as we move forward, as well as 5 champion districts on top of District 7020 from around the world who are going to be partners in our initial pilot projects and communes there. So HANWASH is the organization that will bring these global, regional, and local players together to do what many have believed to have been absolutely impossible: bring potable water and sanitation and improved hygiene to an entire nation. And if we can do it here, there's no reason we can't scale this in the same ways we've done polio across the world. That's our challenge. So how do we do this? How can we succeed when so many others have failed in the past? Well, let me explain. It begins with a systemic, technically and technologically driven approach to gathering data. It's data-driven. This is not anecdotal. We're not really going where someone tells us there's a well needed over there. We're analyzing first. And in the process, we're going through a community assessment analysis and creating locally, socially driven solutions that are from the bottom up, from the community, from within the community, that results in a community action plan. So let me break this down. First is the data collection, as I said. We use our on-the-ground operatives, whether it be Rotaractors, Rotarians, HANWASH ambassadors, and members of other NGOs who have bought into the HANWASH program. And they basically take their cell phone and they download an app, a very simple app called mWater. It's an open source app available to everybody. These volunteers walk through a community and they map all of its water resources. They approach a water pump or a kiosk. They take a picture on their cell phone. They upload it and record its exact coordinates. They test the pump. They note whether it's functional or broken. Record that too. Lastly, they take out a test kit and they can immediately tell whether the water is safe or E. coli poisoned. And they upload all this data immediately, as I said, to the mWater platform, all from their phone. And we now know the status of the water sources in a given community. And we've in fact done this across 45% of Haiti's 144 communes. And 2 weeks ago, we partnered with the National Observatory in Haiti as part of the government relationship we have there. And they've agreed to, with us, alongside us, adopt our system and our systems and processes and map the rest of the country in the next 3 years. And we're a partner in that process with them. So there we are, engaging government, leading them in the right direction, showing them the way, and forming a strong partnership. So now we have basically the challenge of finding out where those locations are in terms of the wells. You can look at the dots there. You see the green dots are functional and potable wells and water sources. The yellow ones, broken dots in need of repair, and the contaminated ones in red. So we just basically overlay that over a Google map. If you look at the little black dots there, they're the homes and houses. And right away, we can tell what the needs are in a particular community, where there's a need for water in an analytical manner. So we've covered accurate data on the level of access to clean water in every community. No one has tried to do this on this scale before, whether in Haiti or elsewhere. Again, Rotary leading the way. The next step is creating what we call socially driven solutions. As I mentioned, there are 144 communes in Haiti, and we meet with their community leaders. In this particular photograph, you'll see Pastoral Director John Smarge, whom I know many of you know well because he was Barry's aide during his year as president. You'll also see their current Assistant Governor, Fritz Pierre-Louis. Fritz was the Rotarian who gave me that bucket of dirty water to drink out of in Liagan in 2013. And then with him, you'll see probably the most important person in the room, the Mayor of Cavaillon. And he's very proudly sporting his Barry Racine tie that he was given as a present from us. I understand he proudly wears it all the time. And he was there to talk to the community along with a number of community leaders. There must have been about 60 people in the room at that time, right the way through Cavaillon. They've really bought into this. But our comment to them is that we're here to show you the data we've collected. And we asked them, how can we help you provide clean water, knowing this data, to your citizens? We're not driving this, they are. It needs to come from the bottom up. We understand it has to be a local community that moves this initiative forward. At each commune, we appoint a HANWASH ambassador, as I mentioned, and they work with the mayors to form a community access plan in their team. So very much a bottom-up solution. Finally, we ensure the process embodies the core values of HANWASH. You'll recognize some of these: sustainability, transparency, and accountability, of course, from our Rotary Foundation. It's what we need to do whenever we do a global grant. More significantly, most significantly, we introduce a thoughtfully managed pay-for-service system. That's absolutely correct. We are not providing free water. This is not charity. We're requiring all the citizens of Haiti pay for the water they receive. Now, you'll see later that economically, that makes sense to them, because right now they're bringing in clean water on motorbikes. They're paying couriers to bring their water to them, or they're having to send their daughters to walk 20 minutes to a well to achieve that. And the cost is far better from an economic point of view with HANWASH. It's as surprising as it sounds, though, paying for clean water is a monumental step forward for Haiti, because traditionally, water bills have not been sent out because they weren't going to get paid. And the reason they weren't going to get paid because the level of service was so bad, people couldn't rely upon getting water once the water was connected. So we've recognized that for our program to be sustainable, we need the community and social buy-in, but we also need financial buy-in from the community and its residents. Lastly, we establish a professional operator. In Cavaillon, it's a local bank. They collect the fees, they pass a small percentage back to DINIPA, the regulator, so they can effectively carry out their regulatory role, and they hold the rest for the future water system upgrades and repairs, and in doing so, make the system sustainable. We also, as I said, use business best practices. The operator gets paid a profit, so he's motivated. So it's a win-win-win situation from all directions. The hard part comes with changing the culture, to embrace this idea of pay for service and move away from this concept of toxic charity. And changing the culture of DINIPA and the local government was just as important. They had to understand that it's their responsibility to take care of their citizens, not rely on outside NGOs. And in many ways, the hardest group to change actually is the NGOs themselves and other charitable organizations, because they obviously have been permeating them and this structure right the way through society. And are used to this structure. So to change their culture has been one of the biggest challenges. Charity, as we know it in Haiti, has failed and failed drastically. And it's now time for a sustainable long-term solution to the country's water and sanitation dilemma once and for all, which can serve as a blueprint and model for not only Haiti as we scale it, but also other developing countries across the world. And that's why Rotary and the Rotary Foundation is so excited about HANWASH. So we've made great progress since the signing ceremony in 2018 in Port-au-Prince. You'll see PDG Robert there. There's members of the DINIPA team, the Haitian government. You'll also see Pastoral President Barry in the background there, along with John Smarge and other Rotarians, including, for example, Tom Thorfinson from Rotary International, the Chief Strategy Officer. Key people at this table signing this accord. But as we move forward, we didn't know at that time how this was going to happen. And it's happened very successfully over the past few years. Initially, we started with 4 pilot projects and districts in Cavaillon, Ferrier, Terranova, and Quadra-Bouquet. We've expanded that recently to 7, and the Kai, Pinion, and Lee again. We have 3 global grants fully funded, 2 of them around about $500,000. Size-wise, the Ferrier project will be closer to 1 million in terms of the size of the grant. We have a steering committee, which I know some of you may have attended, meets weekly, every Wednesday, very well attended with strong Rotary presence and the international partner presence from across the world, not just Rotarians. We're bringing that umbrella structure together. We recently formed a 501c3, and we're very lucky to have past RA President Barry as chairman of that board. Barry, of course, has been intrinsically involved in Haiti for many, many years, in fact, even decades, and was there from the start with HANWASH as well. We have regular meetings with the operator, with the and with the DNIPA regulator. We have, as I mentioned, 5 international champion districts, and they're partnering with these pilot communes. And we have a great strategic plan. We spent the whole of the Zoom lockdown working on a strategic plan and came up with a great product at the end, which will be published as a business plan in the next few months. We have HANWASH ambassadors, as I mentioned, in every Rotary club in Haiti, and committees focusing on this. Most importantly, recently, we turned the corner from being a volunteer organization to becoming a professional structure. And we absolutely needed to do this if we're going to take on this audacious challenge. And we've recently appointed an executive director, Ryan Rowe, who has a great background. He's a peace scholar. He's been involved in WASH charities across the world, as well as business ventures. And also he spent a lot of time in Haiti. So a professional structure is being built to enable us to deliver this. And I couldn't be happier about where we are right now as an organization. As I mentioned, there's other benefits, the environmental benefits. I'm sure many of you have seen this photograph. It's a photograph which shows 2 countries. One is Haiti and one is Dominican Republic. It's the border between the 2. I'll let you guess which one's Haiti. Of course, it's the one on the left. Unfortunately, that's the one that's been deforested. So how will HANWASH make a difference when it comes to that? Well, if you're taking dirty water from a stream or dirty water from a spring or a water source or even from a well, you have to boil it to clean it. And almost 50% of the wood that's chopped down in Haiti's forest is used for boiling water. When we remove the need to boil water, we remove the need to deforest Haiti's forest. In fact, quite the opposite is what we're focusing on. We're going to be rebuilding Haiti's forest. And the way we're doing it is we've just recently signed an MOU with the Ministry of the Environment. And that MOU we were exceptionally excited about. We're partnering with ESRAG, which is a new environmental Rotarian action group, and also with Rotarians elsewhere in District 7020 to do global grants to reforest these hillsides so that the hills of Haiti can look like the hills of the Dominican Republic going forward. Many of us have been to Haiti, and this image is one that's probably ingrained in our heads. It's a symptom of what happens when a society is broken down. Basically, people are discarding all of their garbage, the plastic cups, plastic bottles, the styrofoam plates into the water system. This ends up in our seas and in our beaches. I know I was in Little Cayman 2-3 weeks ago, and on the beach, I found hundreds of little plastic bags that have washed across from these rivers. If we don't have to allow Haitians to rely upon taking these bags, which are given out by NGOs in times of disasters and times of need, we don't move away from bottles. If we can provide clean water at the source, then we can help alleviate this challenge that we have right away across the Caribbean. So the other benefit is economic. This bottle of water here costs 30 cents in Haiti. Well, it probably costs a bit more in the Bahamas and Cayman, but it's still expensive when you consider the average Haitian salary. We deliver clean water in our water kiosks at 1/300th of this price. So when we talk about the economics, this makes economic sense and business sense, not only to the operators, but also to the Haitian consumers who will be getting a higher quality product at a fraction of cost. I'm not going to go too much into detail in this slide here. I'm going to give the opportunity for Past Assistant Governor Lindsay to come across and talk about how we're working with an Adopt a Well program throughout District 7020. He and immediate past District Governor Dalma are the co-chairs for HANWASH within District 7020, and they also run the District 7020 Engagement Subcommittee, which is a key subcommittee that operates underneath HANWASH's structure. So I'll let them deal with that conversation. But that's our goal, is to try and actually get clubs and countries to help us sponsor a well. And then we're going to roll that program out across the world if we can make it successful in District 7020. So let me offer some final thoughts. Remember this young lady, Madeline, I think we said her name was? Because of Rotary, because of HANWASH, because of this water booth that's now operational at the end of her street, she no longer has to travel 20 minutes to find clean water. She literally has it a minute and a half away from her home. In future, her mother won't need to buy charcoal to boil that water to know it's clean. Her father won't be crippled with diarrhea and other waterborne illnesses. He'll be able to go to work and earn the money that's needed to send Madeline and her brothers to school. This water kiosk was the location of one of our first pilot projects in Cavaillon. It's not a new kiosk, but the lines were broken following the earthquake, and the pump was absolutely shot. We worked with UNICEF, and we bought a solar paneled system for the roof, which runs the pump on a sustainable, ongoing basis. We mended the water lines in the street. When we first turned the system on, 90% of the water was leaking out. At this point in time, we managed to reduce that to 10%. So 90% of it's getting to its intended recipients. This is what HANWASH has been able to do. And this is what we'll do, not just in Cavaillon, we'll scale that right the way across Haiti, using a system that works and will last forever. My fellow Rotarians, this is indeed an audacious goal, but one I mean no one can do apart from Rotary, and I mean no one. Rotary has audaciously succeeded before, and with District 7020's and your help, I've absolutely no doubt we'll do it once again. Thank you for giving me the opportunity of speaking to you today, and thank you for being such great Rotarians and such a wonderful Rotary Club. Thank you.
Thank you, PDG. Jeremy, and now we'll open the floor for questions.
So hi, for Director-elect Hurst. When you said sponsor a well, what's the actual cost for a club to sponsor a well?
Okay, I'll allow I'm going to allow a little latitude as I'll talk about it now, but I'd really like you to invite Past Assistant Governor Lindsay to come and talk about this, and I don't want to take all this thunder. But the cost, in direct answer to your question, is around $20,000 per well. So we understand that's obviously for a high cost for a single club to do in a single year. So just to give you a taste of the ideas of the programs we're developing right now, which I'm hoping Lindsay will be able to expand on, we'll either be potentially looking for a club to partner with other clubs in the country, potentially, that's one way forward, or alternatively, work some sort of stage payment over a 4 to 5 year program, potentially. So the way that would work is that you know, we would you would basically you would have the well named, and then we'd work a payment plan over a period. You know, we're talking about a 25-year program here, so we're very happy to do something over 5 years. Is a fairly short-term solution for us. So we'll work with you, I guess, is the approach that we're taking in terms of what suits your budget and what suits your ability to commit.
Thank you.
There's a follow-on to that, actually. I should just say that that $20,000 also includes funding for this structure that we're building. So it's not just the physical cost of drilling the well. So the sustainability element is built into that cost. And there's also a cost of failure built into that, because when we get technical here, even though we use our best water hydrogeological surveys, we still can't be 100% that we're going to get water from a well. So there's probably around about a 10% failure rate, 10 to 20% failure rate for drilling a well, even though we've done the correct hydrogeological surveys. So that includes an element of a buffer there to allow for these failures that do happen from time to time.
I have a question. I've heard you talk about using the dialysis filters in Haiti to bring pure water. Has this method or this system was presented to our government? Because right now at Harbor Island, the water is real salt. And a lot of our islands, well, the government just put in new pipelines in Long Island and in several islands. And I'm listening here and I'm wondering, are we reaching over to Haiti? Is this system, has this system ever been presented here in the Bahamas?
I'm not 100% sure whether it has. I can tell you a couple of things. First of all, generally speaking, the solutions that we come up with here, we want to capture these best practices and allow other islands to use them. And when I talk about scalability of the program, it doesn't have to be a scalable program like the one we have in Haiti, because obviously most people's scenario situations is not as dire, thankfully, as the situation in Haiti. But we can take elements of this, like the one you talked about, and scale those best practices across the Caribbean. And we'll be the resource, District 7020, and our clubs and HANWASH to be able to do so. I do know that these filters have been used heavily in USVI post the hurricanes that hit Irma and Maria, and I know that they were successfully used in some of the remoter islands there, and could be a solution to filter water, in on an ongoing basis in a scenario you talked about. The salinity, we need to check whether or not that actually would work. I suspect it would, because it's still just chemicals in water. So at the end of the day, I suspect that would happen. Having said that, as I mentioned, these filters are really only a short to medium term solution. I mean, sooner or later, they're going to fail. I mean, it's a 7-10 year type lifespan, which is good. But, what I'd encourage you to do if you are looking as a government at these locations is trying to find a more permanent, sustainable clean water solution. And there are some bigger versions of these pumps, these filters that come in a standalone sort of a room-sized version, sort of scaled up, that would work in a water system as well. So yeah, why don't you have a chat with your government, and maybe we can connect them with some of our experts in that area. I'm assuming you want to have a chat with your government then, so.
My daddy just deal with that.
Need to tell him who your daddy is now. He doesn't know that. Share that, okay?
Oh, my dad is past District Governor Felix Stubbs.
I can't even see who's talking right now. Let me see. Yeah.
Are there any other questions for DG Jeremey?
Hey, good morning, Jeremy. Dr. Higgs here. Just interested. It was interesting to hear the use of the dialysis filter, and I guess based on your comment that you indicated with the use for water around the Bahamas, it would depend on if it would be able to capture the high levels of salinity or salt. But also, I had a question, and you may know or not know, but what was the depth of water in Haiti?
The aquifers tend to range, and actually, I do know the general answer. They tend to range between 300 and 600 feet below the ground, typically. So there's quite a depth. Wow. So the wells are being drilled quite deep, and then there's others that are shallower. And it very much depends upon the topography, of course. So you've got a whole range of topography there. So and the geology. So it does vary, but certainly where we're drilling right now in Cavillon, that's the sort of depth we're talking about.
Yeah, I see why you have to build into your model, your business model, the failure rate of either acquiring water or discovering water or not. Yeah, because it's really deep. Yeah, depending on topography. All right, thank you.
Yeah. We have a particular situation. It's interesting you talk about salinity in Ferrier, which is in the top northeast side of Haiti, a small commune there, where all the groundwater has saline intrusion, where it's all been affected by the sea because it's so close to the sea. And the solutions we're looking at there obviously need to be a lot different. So it's a massive challenge right now. The wells are not even working, so we've got to create some way of providing clean water there by purifying that system. Right now, they actually truck the water in water trucks to 15,000 people in the community on a daily basis. So you can see if we're able to put solutions in there that are 0.75 cents per gallon, we're at a far better economic situation than would be the case otherwise.
Appreciate it, yes. And we have similar situations here with saltwater intrusion as well, considering that we're surrounded by ocean water. Yeah. All right, thank you very much, Jeremy.
Pleasure.
Thank you, PDG Jeremy, for that inspiring topic this morning, very inspiring and informative. Thank you, and now we'll ask PDG Felix to bring the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Madam President. Good morning, Rotarians. Good morning, Rotary International Director nominee Jeremy. You can forget that PDG and that's passed. Thank you so much for your presentation this morning. Carl and I had the experience of visiting Haiti as district governors, and we know firsthand of what you speak. The Haitian folks are in dire straits, particularly as it relates to water. But notwithstanding the challenges that they have, I think you'll agree with me that the Haitian Rotarians do a better job than any country in our district in welcoming the district governor with dignity and respect and enthusiasm. And so they deserve all of our help just for the fact that they're such wonderful people. I recall a couple of years ago, we had a theme, not a theme, but a saying, we wanted projects to be bigger, better, and bolder. And you certainly are living that theme through this HANWASH project. HANWASH is to District 7020, what polio is to the rest of the Rotary world. And I believe personally that once we eradicate polio, that HANWASH can very easily become the signature project for Rotary, because this water issue is not just really unique to Haiti, but it's a global problem. And I can see it becoming more global in its scope in going forward. So I want to thank you so much for your passion, your attention to detail, because every Rotary project that I'm aware that you've taken on, you show both those attributes, passion and attention to detail, and have all been very successful. So I know HANWASH will be equally successful. So most importantly though, I want to ask you to please give our regards to Michelle and thank her for allowing you to share your passion with us. Because if there's any one Rotarian, there aren't very many Rotarians as committed as you are. And I've had the pleasure of being on a nominating committee to nominate presidents, to nominate district governors, even to nominate directors, because I had the pleasure of sitting on the nominating committee that elected you, and you're by far the best candidate. I just have to figure a way to sit on a nominating committee to nominate presidents, because I think you have a bright Rotary future. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much, Felix. And,
thank you.
Great to be with friends today.
Yes. Thank you. And now we'll ask Rotarian Kami, who has a presentation to make this morning. Rotarian Kami.
All right, thank you, President Francis. So Doneth, are you able to share screen? So Director-elect Hurst, even though it's not the $20,000 we need to commit to purchasing a well, we still do want to support the efforts of the HANWASH project in the region. It's doing a marvelous job, and it's definitely an inspiration to give me quite a few ideas for next year when we look at our service projects agenda. So our club is committing $1,000 towards the HANWASH project to help expand the work you're doing in Haiti. So please take this virtual check as our commitment and thanks on behalf of our club. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, everyone. That is
so Jeremy, the good thing about a virtual check, Jeremy, it can't bounce.
Well, you may have heard a click on the screen. I just took a screenshot of it. So
so definitely binding commitment.
I want to see the look on my banker's face when I go and
promise must be kept. Okay.
Thank you so much. That's so generous. I really, on behalf of HANWASH, we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And believe me, that's exactly what we need to do. Every Rotary Club in the world who is in this direction will soon be there with HANWASH. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you. And now we'll have the raffle by Secretary Donette.
Okay, so I hope
Donald, before you do the raffle, on behalf of the sergeant, I would like to find Dino Moss $10. He entered the meeting room at 8:02.
And he was not the only one. Are you finding everybody else?
I agree with that.
No, he signed after the meeting.
I agree with that.
This is my second entry, but I will accept my fine. But having trouble on another device, can't hear at all.
Okay, I know we have to go, and I had an emergency, so I will deal with the fines and all those who put alcohol in my sorrel at the party, etc. We'll have fun next week.
$10 fine on the sergeant for not being here on time.
Oh, gee, how are you getting this, man?
The president made me deputy sergeant.
I'll pay, no problem. Okay.
All right.
You see, I have on my mask, so I'm out on the job.
All right, so we'll proceed with the raffle, please.
Okay, so if you don't have a ticket, you don't have a chance.
Put me in $10, please. Put me in $10, please.
Hold on a second. Hold on, guys. I have to put that in. Anybody else?
Father, why are you trying to win $100 to a liquor store?
He's gonna buy water.
All members in attendance get fined.
And you should find yourself because you stalled my raffle. All right, so I think we're ready to go. All right, share my screen. And I wanted to share that beautiful picture of Chairman Janelle, her 40-licious birthday, but I couldn't bring it up on my computer. All right, so here we go. Good luck, everyone. And it's Therese. Congratulations, Therese.
I didn't see my name.
Therese.
I didn't see my name not revealed.
Thank you very much.
I didn't get a request from you.
I was the first one.
Really?
So y'all don't charge me that $20 I offered.
Okay. Oh,
all right.
That. Sorry.
We'll have the four-way test now by Rotarian Angelica.
Madam President, Angelica is not in this morning, so I'll do the four-way test.
All right, thank you.
Of all the things we think say or do, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Will it bring goodwill and better friendship?
Will it bring
goodwill and better friendships?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
$5 fine for Leon.
And the final toast by Rotarian Melanie Cartwright.
Good morning, everyone. Please raise your glasses. Please raise your glasses and your mugs, and let's toast to Rotary around the world.
Rotary around
the world.
Thank you, everyone, for your participation this morning, and more importantly, thank you, PDG Jeremy, for getting
International Director nominee
very early this morning and your wonderful, wonderful presentation. Thank you.
Madam President,
online guest.
Madam President, please get Mr. Jeremy's title right. It's Rotary International Director nominee.
PDG, thank you so much.
$5 fine for you too.
Oh, no, it's still PDG Jeremy, until it's official. Thank you, PDG. Felix?
Listen, you guys can call me whatever you want. I've been called a lot worse, believe me. So
just make sure you
To our
call
online guests,
us.
thank you so much for joining us this morning, and you're welcome to join us anytime. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, guys, great
You
to
guys
be here.
remember
Thanks
the
so much
Routine
again.
Cafe.
Bye now. Felix, I'll talk later. Take care, man.
Take care, Jeremy. Good seeing you. Take yourselves,
Say hi to
Michelle.
Carla. Oh, yeah, take care. Will do. She's in bed still.
No, she's on.
Go on.
All right, guys. Gotta go. Take care.
Bye-bye. Okay. Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful day now. So Felix, I didn't have you down. I didn't have you down, so I owe you one.
No,
PDG was the first
treasurer
one.
said she's not charging me.
No, we're not charging you because I didn't even record that.
I was the first one.
Madam Secretary, he was the first one.
Oh, I didn't see it. I was busy letting in people and doing all kinds of other stuff.
I was going to lend $100 this morning. But anyway.
Hi, Alex.
You're on a winning streak, man. You're on a winning streak.
PGG, I hear Father Palacia saying he got an emergency.
And I will be seeing him at 9 o'clock. You better be there for 9 o'clock.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
All right.
Okay.
Later.
All right.
Okay.
Bye, all.
You forget the fella say, you forget.
We forgot what?